All praises and glory to the Most High Elohim. I decided to come back on here to give a little bit more of my testimony. I come from a heavily um, saturated family that was into idolatry very, very deep. Um, Not only through occult, through the Eastern Stars, Freemasons, and the Daughters of Isis, but witchcraft as well. Um, I discovered this when I found out some things about my family through my that happened on my grandfather's side. My grandfather initiated the Freemasons because he was really greedy. Um, but his side of the family was really into the witchcraft, and the reason why I say that is because my grandfather had a first or a second cousin that was molesting his little girls for years, even up until they're adults. Um, they were still, having intercourse. And this man, his name is Clark. Um, his last name is Clark. He's still registered. He's registered as a sexual predator. He's got to, you know, sign in and things like that. I think that's the right term for that. But that's not something that we ordinarily do in our community. So after I did my spiritual mapping, I discovered that there was more deeper witchcraft that was going on that came through my maternal side. When I say my grandfather, I am talking about my mother's side of the family. And like I said, it started with the occult with my grandfather. And in the city that I was born, there was the Freemasons all around. It was all around. It still is to this day. A lot of Freemason temples and things like that, and that prompted my my grandmother to get involved with the Eastern Stars and Daughters of Isis. I don't know if anybody's ever heard of Daughters of Isis, but she joined that sect, that 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 occult group too. And then after that, like years later, like back in 95 or 96, my mother, which I will refer to her as my so-called mother because she was never a mother to me. She she decided to join because I guess she wanted to find herself and was lost in life for whatever stupid reason, or because her parents were into it. But this is how stupid my mother was. Like back in 83, 84, you know, um, after my grandparents had made all those pledges and oaths to these demons and stuff like that, it started to show in the family. It started to show the wear and tear and all the demonic stuff. Like for instance, my grandfather, he was already cheating on my grandmother, but he came more out with it. Like forget it, I ain't hiding it no more. And of course, this hurt my grandmother. So what she would do is she would drink all day. And when I mean drink all day, I mean she would get not a half pint, not a fifth, but she would drink a half a gallon and be in the bed drunk all day long. Okay, and this is when she was I think she was in her 40s at this time. And it would be something where she'd be only sober out of one or 2 days out the month. All the rest of the time, she would be pissy drunk. She would not get up out the bed. She wouldn't clean the house. The house stank. It smelled like alcohol all the time. My grandfather was never there because he was always with his other woman. And it was just terrible to see her like that. And for holidays and stuff, I was a teenager at this time, and And it would just be really weird. There was no cohesiveness within the family. There was no celebration. There was no happiness left. You can tell that the spirits that they let in was really, really um wearing and tearing the family down, especially them two, because my grandfather, he was already wicked. He got even wickeder, if that's a word or whatever. And then my grandmother, she just became more depressed. She had this heavy spirit of oppression on her. It just became really, really like, what is going on? Like, what happened? And nobody was, there wasn't this information or this knowledge out that we have now back in the 80s. Okay, so 10 years later, my so called mother decides she wants to join as well. I'm like 24, 25 years old, and my brother was 23. He was like a year younger than me. She wants to join. So we're already grown and we're trying to make our own lives. And she goes and joins this demonic Eastern Star, which opens another floodgate of curses and demonic spirits. And let me tell y'all, when she did that, I saw my life just go down like 5, 10 notches, and my struggle was even worse. And I couldn't figure out what, I'm at the prime of my life, and everything is just going down. Like everything that I worked for, I'm barely, barely, barely making any money. And I'm struggling. I'm in Chicago trying to model, and I'm trying to make it single, you know. Um, and my brother steadily going to jail, going to jail. But let me tell you what my mother was doing. She was getting all these promotions at her job. She worked for American Electric. She worked for electric company. She had a good job, but she got promoted. She started to get promoted, and she started to get all these opportunities, you know, and she started to get more things, more monetary gain and things like that. And she was so wicked with it. She would just look at us like, what's wrong with you and your brother? You better pull yourself up by your bootstraps. But that's another thing to it. She loved my brother more than me, and she always did that. But he started smoking crack even more heavily at this time as well. So she always treated us different, and when she would treat me different, it was just like a wicked different. Like I would go over there, like I had an apartment, and I was living by myself, struggling, trying to model and stuff like that. And I would go over my parents' house for dinner, and she would look at me like, "Why you coming over here to eat?" I'm like, "Well, you are still my parents and stuff like that, and I'm trying to save on food." And she would just be really cold hearted, you know, about about everything, and just wanted to have money and just wanted to have status and things by any means necessary, just like her father, you know, just really, really wicked. But wouldn't something tell you if your parents were involved in the occult, Freemasons and Eastern Stars, and you watch their marriage totally decline, and you watch your mother be in the bed for days on end, never becoming sober, and just everything just go down, just life, just the quality of life just go down, and then you decide that you want to join this group just because it's a tradition. And that's what the Bible speaks of. Our traditions make the word of God of no effect. But she wasn't even into the church. She wasn't into the Bible. They wouldn't even study the Bible or read the Bible or nothing. She just relied on the occult, going to the Eastern Stars because her parents was into it. Just real stupid. Just real, real stupid. That's why I think that she didn't have all her marbles anyways. I think I'm pretty sure that she was mildly retarded. She had to be. um, because things that she would do just didn't make any sense, or super possessed, you know. And the reason why I say that again is because her grandmother, they I was told that she was in an insane asylum, or she was in a mental institution or something like that. And she didn't have all her marbles. I know her daddy was wicked. He was wait till the testimony I give to you about that. But then she comes along and does the same thing. That's what makes me think she's really, really retarded too. You're gonna join the same thing and not care about anybody. Then my dad started to get sick. I mean, when people join these wicked organizations, they think that um when the affliction or the spirits come that are attacking the people around them, they think that, oh, that's the natural progression of life. No, no, absolutely not. They have let open the floodgates into all these spirits when they bow down and serve, when they go out and serve, like to the stupid meetings, and then when they go to do their community service, or they have a function, or an initiation or a ceremony, that is still serving Satan. But like I said, back in 96, a lot of this information that we have now on the internet, and everybody coming out and renouncing, denouncing these sororities and fraternities and these occult Freemasons and Easter Stars, we didn't have this information, but still, you know, I we had gotten to a big argument a couple years back, and I'm trying to show her Albert Pike testimony on paper that was written in the 1800s. I'm trying to show her that what you're really serving, this great architect and everything, is Satan. And what your parents served was Satan too. And she is totally spiritually blind. Totally. And it's like totally fruitless, a waste of time. I don't even waste my breath, my energy to even say anything, because at this point, she totally needs exorcism, needs total deliverance. And this is the messed up thing about it too, that she probably don't want it. She wants to keep them demons because those demons have been making her happy. And this is the really frustrating part about when you have family members that have bowed down and in idolatry, and they've done certain things to even sell their soul or sell somebody else's soul in these occults. They come totally blind. They actually, I think, literally the father also, there's another spiritual action that's going on, that the father makes them reprobate. They can't turn back. And that's the most dangerous part. Not only are you spiritually blind by Satan, you have made yourself, you have crossed the threshold where the father has had to, turn his back on you too. Now you reprobate because your greed, because your your wickedness. It's absolutely terrible. And like I said, I will give more of my testimony later on, because I want to keep this kind of short or whatever. But the the effects around of the family around, the family dissection, if that's a word, that's not a word, dissection. No, the family tear down of the family. Not one of us. I remember we would all get together and have holidays and celebrations. Now, none of us even speak. And this is what they don't this is what Satan doesn't reveal to you in the contract that you sign, the verbal and the spiritual and the invisible contract that you sign up when you join these wicked organizations. And a lot of us, you know what I'm saying, my grandparents, they died in this. And I am going to take a strong assumption that they did not go into the rest in paradise, because they still made covenants. They still made covenants with Satan. And it's really terrible. It's really terrible. But anyway, like I said, I wanted to keep this kind of short. And please stay tuned for my next testimony. While I'm keeping upholding Ephesians 5 and 11, I'm exposing everything. All right? Peace and be blessed.